what we hear a lot is people email our support team and they say, when my members sign up, I want to send that data to Mailchimp or to Constant Contact. Or when people fill out my newsletter subscription form, I want that email to be sent to another platform. So now that kind of stuff is able to be accomplished within the BD platform. And David, you've put together a few helpful slides to help everyone wrap their heads around what Zapier is, some use cases, and then also we want to show you an example of how to sync your BD website to Mailchimp as well in this tip of the week. So if it's okay with you, David, I'll pass it over.
Absolutely. So like Jason mentioned in our updates, we recently released our phase 1 Zapier integration. And for the most part, the primary request that we've been receiving with regards to Zapier is a lot of you wanting to utilize Mailchimp to manage your newsletter subscriptions and manage your emails out to your existing members, people who just visit your website and sign up for your newsletter, things like that. So we thought, because going over the Zapier integration as an overview at a general level is relatively basic, we thought in addition we'd also dive in to Mailchimp and show you how to actually set up an integration with Mailchimp and your BD site. So before we get into that, let's go over exactly what Zapier is, our current integration with it, what will be coming in the future, some use cases, and then we'll dive into the how-to. So what we've released now is the phase 1 Zapier integration. And what this allows you to do is send data from your Brilliant Directories website's forms out to third-party platforms by way of Zapier. So this includes your member sign-up forms, newsletter sign-up forms, your contact form when website visitors submit leads on your website, member review submissions, as well as any custom forms that you might have on your website. So all of this data that you're bringing in anytime these forms are submitted on your website, you'll be able to take that data and send it out to any of Zapier's 3,000 plus integrations. That's what you can do right now. In the future, phase 2, you'll actually be able to bring data in to your Brilliant Directories website from third-party platforms by way of Zapier. So right now you can send data out from your site to third-party services. In the future, you'll be able to actually bring data into your website. And some use cases for using Zapier with your Brilliant Directories website. The first one would simply be to integrate your Brilliant Directories website with third-party apps and services that you're already using. For example, Mailchimp. You can cooperatively use your Brilliant Directories website with these third-party apps that you already have integrated with your daily workflow. So, for example, Mailchimp. Maybe you're manually updating your contact list within Mailchimp once a day, once a week. Anytime you get new newsletter subscribers or new member signups, you're manually taking those emails and adding them to your Mailchimp contact list. Well, with this new Zapier integration, that contact list will be able to automatically be updated. So you won't need to manually update it anymore. So that's one use case. Another one would be to integrate with third-party apps that have more robust features than Brilliant Directories does. So BD, it's a great all-in-one solution, but it is an all-in-one solution. There's a lot of other third-party platforms, applications, services like Mailchimp that offer specialized features in order to meet specific objectives. So Mailchimp is a great platform specifically designed for sending out newsletters and managing contact lists. So you can use your BD website's data with those services. And like I mentioned, the contact list within Mailchimp or any other application you might be using, that will now be able to automatically be updated. So you won't need to manually transfer any data over. A third use case would be to simply store your website's data in more places. For example, if you have some fields within some forms on your website that you want to easily be accessible, then you can have that data be sent over to a spreadsheet that you can access within Google Sheets. And that spreadsheet will automatically be updated with data that's been submitted into any of your forms. And so, sometimes it might be easier to just go into Google Sheets real quickly, maybe if you're on your phone away from the computer, and you can quickly see maybe if somebody's subscribed to your newsletter, if somebody submitted a contact form, something like that. Some other examples might be Maybe you want to integrate with QuickBooks or Salesforce, or again, Zapier has 3,000 plus other integrations. So there's really a lot of possibilities when it comes to the Zapier integration here.
Yeah, I think the key here is no matter what your workflow is, this kind of opens up more opportunities to work more efficiently and streamline some of your internal processes that you use to run your online membership community. So definitely, we're going to see how more and more people are using this as time goes by. So we thought, yeah, since the most common request we've heard and more recently and in the past was, how do I send my BD data to Mailchimp? People who sign up to my site, I just want that data to be sent automatically to Mailchimp. So we wanted to run you through the workflow of how to set this up, kind of open the door for you guys who may not even be familiar with Zapier or the need to send data to third-party applications. This will kind of show you a quick tutorial of how this works. And so first things first, let's go to our dashboard here and let's open up our tools here. We created a free Mailchimp account today. You can have up to 2,000 contacts for free in Mailchimp, and we have our Zapier account, which is the tool that lets you sync two different applications together. Or we can even see here, you can sync multiple applications together. You can sync a hook from your BD site into Excel and also sending a Gmail email at the same time. So pretty powerful stuff here. In this example, what we can do is we can create a webhook or a connection between our sign-up forms, new member sign-ups, and sending that data into Mailchimp. So the Zapier settings are under the webhooks area in Developer Hub. So it's in the Developer Hub section under webhooks. And here, if there are no actions here, it means that these are all default system defaults. When there are actions here on the left-hand side, these are events for your custom form. So as David mentioned, you can create webhook events, basically integration events for your member reviews, contact us form, newsletter signups, lead submission, paid and free member signups. And you can see here I've created I've enabled some of those webhooks here. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. And we'll start from scratch here together. And I'll go ahead and just save this page so everything is empty. First things first, we can go into Zapier and we can go to our Zaps. And actually what we'll do is we'll create a new Zap. And what we're going to be doing in this process is connecting your Brilliant Directories form submission. So when someone signs up, that's a form submitted for like a free or paid sign up. And we're going to be telling it to sync to another app, in this case, Mailchimp. So what we want to look for the app event is going to be called Webhooks by Zapier. And the trigger event, this one confused me a bit, but just remember this, Captain Hook, all we want to do is catch hook, the middle one. It's an easy way. We don't need the raw hook. We don't need to retrieve pull. We just want to catch hook. So just remember Peter Pan, Captain Hook, catch hook, and click on continue. No, it sounds silly, but so this will be a custom webhook URL. We want to copy this. And what's really cool, and I discovered today, you don't have to, but actually you can use the same webhook URL, the one that I just copied, and use it for both the paid and free signups. You could have a different one if you need to, but actually you could just use the same one for both. So what I've done is I'm in the webhook section of the Developer Hub, and I'm going to copy and paste that URL here into the webhook link, and I clicked on enable, and I'm going to hit save changes here. So we're going to continue through the process, and I've copied that. You don't need to do anything else, just click on continue. Okay, now it wants us to test the trigger, basically do a test form submission, and then it's going to tell us the data that it found, what Zapier found. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the free sign up form. I'll sign up as a general user, and we'll see if the connection with Zapier is made now that I've saved that link in the Developer Hub. So let's do this here. I'll do Jason, and I'll put webinar, and we'll do webinar at webinar.com, and we'll go ahead and save the changes. So they want you to conduct a test. So I've done a test now, the form is submitted, and we're gonna go back to Zapier and we're gonna click test trigger. It's gonna see if it collected anything. And it did collect it. It knows the subscription ID is 5. It knows the form that was the filled out. It was the sign up free form. It has my IP, it has my first name and last name, my email. Any other custom fields you add to these forms, they will be sent into Zapier. So if here you're gonna add phone number field, who referred you field, all that, any custom fields you want on any of the forms, sign up form, contact us form, newsletter form, all that field data is going to be sent into Zapier. So we know that now that Zapier is receiving the data from the form submission. We can go ahead and click continue. Okay, this is the magic part. So now that Zapier is successfully receiving the form submissions, they're going to say, okay, what do you want us to, where else do you want us to send this data? And as David mentioned, they have 3,000 plus integrations. We'll keep it simple, and we want to send this to our Mailchimp account. We want to send this user's information and add them to our Mailchimp account. They're going to ask you to sync your Mailchimp account first to give it access, and we've done that. So we'll go ahead. We've selected Mailchimp. Choose an event. We want to add or update a subscriber, and we'll click on continue. So this is where they want you to choose your Mailchimp account, Mailchimp More Inc. It's just a test account we created, and we're just going to follow through the steps here on how they want us to connect to the Mailchimp account. So now we're going to sync data together. So More Inc. This is just a test account that we made in Mailchimp. That's the name of our Mailchimp account. And the subscriber's email. So this is where we're going to start mapping stuff. So email is the email field for Mailchimp. And double opt-in, we don't need to do that in this case. We're going to put false. That means do you require the user to do a double opt-in? Update existing value, that's fine. And groups, I don't think you need to do anything for groups. I think you could just do add only. These are just some Mailchimp settings. And what's really cool here is you can, if you set up tags in Mailchimp, which we'll check out in just a second, based on the form that's submitted, you can choose a tag to assign. So I did create a tag called contact form, and it would tag them in Mailchimp as someone who filled out the contact form. Here you can also map their first name that was filled out, Jason Webinar I put, and last name, and any other custom fields you have. You're basically saying, Mailchimp, this is the field for first name, this is the field for last name, and so on. And I think there is one for phone number, birthday, so just depending on things that you're collecting. Plan ID, I created a custom field in Mailchimp called, instead of first name, last name in Mailchimp, I added something called Plan ID, and I want to sync that here. If I search for subscription ID is going to be what Plan ID is in Mailchimp. We're going to see how all this works, and I'll just go ahead and save the changes. So I mapped what your BD data should line up to going into Mailchimp, and I'll click continue. And just kind of showing you a preview of what things would look like. Not everything is required. That's why I left all these things empty. And we'll do a test and review. Okay, a subscriber was sent to Mailchimp. So it did send this data to Mailchimp. Let's go into our Mailchimp account and see if we can find Jason Webinar inside of Mailchimp. So we'll click on Audience and All Contacts. Now we're inside Mailchimp. And here we can see webinar at webinar.com, Jason Webinar. It has my plan ID. I know that's the subscription ID. The membership plan ID is 5. And yep, that person is here in Mailchimp now. So we've done a few cool things. You can create segments in Mailchimp. You could create tags in Mailchimp. So let me go to the audience section. And what I did do is under all contacts, let me slow down a bit. So under all contacts, under settings, you can add custom fields that you want to add for your members. So obviously we know first name, last name, phone number, but what I did do is I did go to settings, audience fields, and I'm sure all platforms allow you to create custom fields. So there's email, first name, address, phone number. These are all default fields. I did create a new field called plan ID number. And that is why when I was doing the Zap connections, I synced the subscription ID to the plan ID number field. So we are saving the sign up plan IDs into Mailchimp because I created this field. All I did was I clicked add new field. I created a number field because I want it to be an integer, and it's going to ask me to put the details here. So here's my number field. I can call it whatever I want. I just needed something so I can save the subscription ID during sign up form submissions. So you can call it whatever you want, and just make sure, because the subscription ID is sent over when someone signs up to your site. So you just want to map that with this custom field that you create in Mailchimp. So I would just map the subscription ID that's submitted with the form to the subscription ID number field in Mailchimp, and then I can create segments and things like that now that I've stored this in Mailchimp. So we basically created a corresponding field in Mailchimp that I can connect the subscription plan ID that's being sent with the signups from Brilliant Directories. We did create a segment. Basically, this is like their version of Smart Lists with BD sites. So what we could do is we could create a segment. And if we go back here to the membership plan settings, so the general user account was plan ID 5. And as you remember, we're sending that data into Mailchimp. So we know that this new contact is plan ID 5. So what we're going to do in Mailchimp is create a new segment, Smart List basically. If the plan ID number is 5, and let's preview, that's all the conditions we're doing. So there's one person, webinar at webinar.com. I'm going to save this, and we're going to say these are general users, general user accounts, and we'll save the changes. So now we have a segment for general user accounts, and of course, when we create these, we could choose to send newsletters to these segments specifically from within Mailchimp. So Mailchimp allows you to basically group people in different ways. You can create segments, you can assign tags, and then they have something called groups as well. More or less, they're all doing the same thing. You're tagging members to be associated with certain groups within Mailchimp, and then you can select them when you're sending your newsletters. Now, David, I know I went a little quick there. Did I overlook anything in that quick overview?
I think that pretty much covers it. Maybe if we want to discuss how you can know not just which membership plan they're within, but if they've, for example, submitted the contact form.
Absolutely. Let's create a new Zap for people submitting the Contact Us form on the website. This is the Contact Us form right here. So this is your general Contact Us form. So name, email, phone number. So when the email matches, it should also tag that. We can create a tag that a person is also a member and has filled out a Contact Us form. So what we should do is create a new Zap for that logic. So what we could do is create a Zap. I'm going to go through this twice just so everyone can get the hang of it. So what we're going to search for is webhooks by Zapier. And the middle one, catch hook, and continue. And we're going to copy this URL, webhook URL. We're going to copy this. And this one, we're going to put this for the webhook event, the Contact Us form. I'll paste it here and enable it and save my changes. Now that that's there, I will continue. And it wants us to test our trigger, so we're going to submit the form. And what I'd like to do is submit it with the same email address. This one, webinar@webinars.com. Where do I have it here? Here it is, webinar@webinar.com, just to test there. So I'll put my name here, Jason Webinar, and email address. Let's put Jason there, and I'll put my phone number. And this is my message. And go ahead and submit this. Great, your message has been sent. Let's go back to Zapier and see if it got that information. Perfect, it knows the form name submitted was contact form. The email was webinar@webinar.com. It even got the phone number and my comment, which is this is my message. And we'll go ahead and continue here. And what do we want to do? Do we want to send this to Constant Contact? It would follow the same model. In this case, we'll do Mailchimp and update or add a subscriber. And we're going to choose our test account. and continue. And I guess the audience is kind of like the test account. So now we're going to map, okay, what's the email address field that should be mapped in Mailchimp. So if you don't see the field here, in this case, we're not seeing the email field, you can click show all options. And if we scroll down, we see inquiry email, webinar, webinar.com. So that's mapped. Don't think we need to even choose this one. Update existing. Yeah, we can update the existing contact. And we can assign a tag here. These are people who filled out the contact form. You can assign multiple tags if you needed to, not just one. And we can also update the first name field and more. In this case, we did grab a phone number actually. That form had a phone number field, so I can add that there. And I'll go ahead and click continue. Okay, this is what it's going to map to Mailchimp. And these are the fields that it's not going to update in Mailchimp. They're left empty. We'll do a test and review. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into Mailchimp and see if the tag was added, the tag contact form for this person. So if we go to all contacts, so we have webinar at webinar.com and his name is there. So now we see the phone number is here. I didn't add the phone number during the sign up, but I did add my phone number on the contact us form. And we see that it's associated the tag contact form to this existing person in Mailchimp as well. So through submitting two forms, the sign up form and also the contact us form, we've been able to successfully add and update a contact's information that is in Mailchimp. And as David was mentioning, we can create more specific segments if you're doing email marketing from Mailchimp. Let's create a new segment. And in this segment, we're going to want people who are of the plan ID 5. So plan ID number is 5. That's that general user ID on their BD site. And we're going to do all contacts must match all of the following conditions. And they have tags. Well, we only have one tag, but so they have the tag contact form. So they have to be a general user and they have to have submitted a contact form. And we can preview this segment. Obviously, we know there's only one person here that meets this criteria, and we'll save this segment. So this will be general users who also build out contact form. Now, you might be doing applications, contests, online surveys, and you want to know which of your paid members also filled out your contest form. You could do this in BD because we know there's filters for forms submitted and forms not submitted that you could create from your members. But again, this is if you're using a third-party solution and you're sending data into things like Mailchimp, these kind of tools allow you to create smart lists or segments based on your goals or needs. So you can create these types of smart lists and then obviously schedule newsletters within Mailchimp to them. So now what we've done is we have created two different webhooks, one for signups and one for the contact us form. You can, of course, continue this process and send all the data you need that's included with a form submission to third parties, in this example, Mailchimp. Now, David, fill me in. Did we miss anything here?
I think that covers it. It's a relatively simple process, and even for custom forms, you would basically follow the same process that we just did for the contact form.
Right. Yeah, I think that's it.